Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Matthew Currin, and I'm here with Zoe. Zoe, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Doing great, doing great. So you're going to be one of the main speakers here coming up on, I can't remember which day, Wednesday, I think it is, or Tuesday. I'm sorry, I can't keep my days straight, but we got Entrepreneurs Unite Back to the Basics next week, and this is our speaker highlight of you. So what I want you to do is just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, of course. Well, firstly, thank you so much for having me on the speaking panel. It's a real privilege and a pleasure to be talking to all these amazing people that you've got attending the event. And I know I'm in really good company, so thank you.
Yeah.
So telling you a little bit about myself, I have a company called Media Content Guru, and I work principally with businesses, business owners, helping them tell their stories through their social media, through their brand strategy and their online content on their website, so they can really connect with their audience and really nail home what it is that's so unique and special about them. So they're put in a position where they're having a great connection with people who can really benefit from whatever they're offering, whether that's a product or a service, whichever particular industry they might be in. So with regards to my background, I was actually a journalist, full-time journalist for over 20 years. I worked on national newspapers and magazines in the UK. I was involved in the setup of one of the very first news entertainment magazines. I was news editor there. Had some great times, got to interview some really cool people. I've interviewed Nicole Kidman and Lionel Richie.
Wow.
One of my favorites, Angelina Jolie, people like that. And then after I worked in the UK for about 10 years, I decided to move to Australia. I'd never been there before.
Yeah.
I flew in on the plane over Sydney and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm completely mad. I knew one person in the entire country. But it was, a really good learning curve. I'm very much about getting yourself kicked off the cliff. I think that's the best way to learn and embrace any challenge you've got ahead of you. So off I went to Sydney. It absolutely chucked it down with rain the first 3 days I was there. And I was like, they don't tell you this in the guidebooks. I thought it was sunny.
It was the picture was sunny. I didn't see this.
I know. I wasn't very impressed.
Yeah.
But it all worked out well, and my husband came and joined me 3 months later, and we ended up living there for 7.5 years. We did the very stereotypical thing of living just a stone's throw from Bondi Beach, which was great. And when I was there, I had the opportunity to work on one of the high-selling newspapers. I was editor of one of their supplements, and I also did some TV work. Got to meet lots of cool people, got to see Ayers Rock, got to touch a kangaroo, koala, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
So we moved to Los Angeles 5 years ago, and that's where I live now. And it's really great city to live in, very vibrant. American people are cool. They like my accent, which is handy.
Right. We like your accent.
Some of them can't understand me. Some of them think I'm Australian. I'm not. That's me. And now I get the pleasure of working with people one-on-one, and also just talking to them about their businesses, and then work with them and see them make amazing transformations and really nail down who it is they're trying to communicate with their stories, which is something I love.
So you just hit the nail on the head. And we talked for a little while before, we started the interview, and the word you said, stories there. I mean, you just told us a fascinating story about you going from the UK to Australia to LA. And we were talking about how important, your story is and how important people's stories are. And so really, when you go to Entrepreneurs Unite, you're teaching people how to be an entrepreneur. You're also teaching them how to take what they're an expert at and tell their story.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And this is the thing now more than ever, because of the current climate we're in, it's absolutely essential that you are telling your story through your online content. It's actually inbuilt into us from being children. I mean, you'll remember, I'm sure that you were told bedtime stories.
Oh, absolutely.
Your mum and dad would use stories to teach you things. And it's essentially actually part of our DNA and the way our brains work, that we really respond to storytelling. And one of the things that a lot of business owners don't think they have is a story that's interesting, a story that's going to connect with people, or even a story that's worth telling. And that's totally not true. Everybody has a story, and your business has a story. And if you can tell that in the right way, not only will you have the exact right people tuning into what you're offering, but you'll also set yourself apart from the crowd.
Yes.
And as everyone is online now, what is everyone doing? They're scrolling through their phones, they're looking at their laptops because they're all stuck indoors, and they're reading. So they're reading content. So if you can actually get your story on point, and you can really nail down all those essential bits and pieces that make you so different to everyone else, even though you might have the same business as 20, 30, 500 other people, you are actually going to find that person, that audience, they're going to want to work with you, do with you whatever it is you offer over and above everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. What makes you unique? What makes you
Yeah.
different? What makes you an expert in your field? And that's so important that you're able to differentiate yourself. And that's really kind of going to be what your topic is that you're going to be talking about is social media and online presence, and how you can separate yourself.
Yes, absolutely. And also how in the current climate, I'm sure that there's people attending the conference who have maybe been put in a position where their business has been shut, or they've had to suddenly completely pivot. There's a lot of fear, and they're frightened, like, how are we going to come out of this? Never mind about, the fact that you're probably going absolutely spare being 24 hours a day with your kids and your husband and your partner. Like, that's driving you mad. But then on top of that, you're trying to work out, how am I actually going to come out the other side and make this work? And actually, will there even be any customers or audience left for me to
Yeah.
engage with? So it's really important that people set aside that fear and just really focus on how they can look at where they are, what their experience is, use the online platforms to the best of their ability, so they can actually really nail down and communicate, not only with audiences that they may have who essentially can't come into their business anymore if they've got a brick and mortar business, but also find the audience that's out there that doesn't know they exist,
That's
who
right.
can actually connect with them.
Yeah, and the word that came to mind during that when you were speaking is you got to make a pivot right now. You
Yes.
have to pivot, and making that pivot is so important because we're not having that face to face interaction. The majority of we're having to social distance. The majority of our interaction is online. Doesn't
Yeah.
mean that you have to stop growing your business, right?
Yeah.
And for example, what we're doing right now at the summit, and thank you so much for coming and being a part of the Entrepreneurs Unite Summit, but we're helping people grow, and in the process we're growing. So but it's that pivot. So talk about just the pivot a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll give you a really good example of an amazing pivot that I've actually seen since this has happened. So we have a coffee shop at the end of our road, great coffee shop. We go there all the time. Obviously, everything gets shut down. Literally within 3 days of all the businesses being shut down, this coffee shop, which was essentially a cafe, has completely transformed itself into a deli. It's doing online orders. It's doing packages, which you get bread and toilet roll, because come on, we all need that right now.
Gotta have
Like,
a toilet roll.
it's an essential item. And they've teamed up with other businesses in the area that do local produce, and they are making more money now than they were making when they were working as a cafe. And all of their employees are absolutely passionate about what they're doing because they've got jobs. So they're like, we want this train to keep rolling. We don't want to lose out here. We're lucky we've got a job. They're giving all these lovely like packages away to people. They're also supporting the community with giving like coffee to first responders. They updated their website in about 2 days, did all their social media. I mean, it was brilliant to watch.
Yeah.
And that was one of the ways that, if you just think like, how can we actually use this to our advantage I don't use that word in a bad way. I mean, that they can actually provide a great service.
Yeah.
They're helping other people who are at the front line, and they're actually still making money. And there's nothing wrong with that,
Yeah.
doing that right now.
Yeah.
And then I have another example of another business, a restaurant, and they just shut down, completely shut down. And I spoke to the manager of it, and he was like, no, I'm not doing anything. Now, he had the opportunity there to actually, okay, how can I take this? How can I move forward? Which direction do I need to go in? Do I need to put banners up to say to people I'm doing takeout? Should I put shout outs on my social media? Yes, you should. Should I be trying to do a different menu? Yes, you should. Because he had a really strong audience of people who would have come and bought from him. I mean, my husband and I are trying to like support restaurants in the area because it's important. I mean, I don't want to see their businesses go to the wall.
Absolutely not.
So, you know, it's those are two very stark examples at either end of the spectrum. You either take this by the throat and go, right, I am going to absolutely nail this to the floor and come out of this. Or you go, oh my gosh, paralyzed by fear, and then you don't do anything.
Yep.
And you don't want to be the person who's paralyzed by fear, because if you can't get out of that, then it's not just you that's affected, it's your staff, it's anyone you're supporting with the business that you're running.
Yeah, absolutely. And now you hit the nail on the head. And so, you know, we talk about storytelling. We've talked about that and how important that is. But I want to ask you like a term and just get you to give me your thoughts. I did this yesterday. And just give me your thoughts on this. It's real life, real people, real experience. When I say that, what do you think about?
Well, I think about how you are using what you have gone through as the connection to others who will find something in that they identify with. So often we think, oh, no one else will understand that experience I've had. No one else will get me. People might laugh at me. No, that's not the case, because everyone will find something that they can identify with in your experience, and that will connect them to you. And so being real, being authentic gives you credibility and validity, which builds you up and whatever you're doing and how people relate to that, essentially.
So what I did right there is since you're an expert in the field of that, I just gave you the Convene Communities tagline. What I got free advice from you. Thank you. But that's really what it's all about. That's the tagline for Convene: is real life, real people, real experience. And I believe that bringing people's real life, and we're all real people. We're all going through this right now. We're all, you know, and you just gave us two experiences of two different people who have looked at the opportunity in different ways. And so it's really just kind of how we learn from life and how we expand and how we can share those stories to help others grow.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. Yeah.
well, this has been awesome. I cannot wait to hear you speak. This is going to be great. I really appreciate you being a part of this. The panel that we have of 15 speakers is incredible. And I'm just honored that you're a part of it. So thank you so much. And if you're not already signed up, go to convenecommunities.com to sign up to be a part of it. Make sure to share your link. This is a free summit, and you're going to get great advice from people like Zoe. It's just going to be wonderful. And thank you so much, and have just a wonderful weekend. And I can't wait to see you next week.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be part of it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.